All right. Well, welcome to our celebration week.
Oh, yay! I should have been.
Yeah, I know I should have had some horns. Want to just congratulate everybody who has participated either during the live call or during the replays. And so, special shout outs to folks like Julie Harrison, who's been participating at a distance, Judith, Deborah Graybeal, and then other girls who are sometimes on the call, but more often on the call, sometimes on the replays. So Cindy BD, Cindy Plantabingo, who's usually on the call, she's got a lot going on. Her mom was in the hospital today.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah, it just keeps getting more involved for her, poor thing. Her mom has some kind of atypical pneumonia, so is in the hospital. She was supposed to go back to Florida this Friday, so the plans just keep changing. She's been here for like 9 weeks since Irma, but the good part is Cindy and her brother's been able to care for her and provide some extra medical support too. So hopefully Grand Fran will heal up here soon. But Cindy's usually on, so congratulations to her, to Betsy Culp, who's going to come on to the call a few minutes late this morning, and Martha Loomis, who's usually on the call too. I feel like I'm getting a little feedback. I'm going to mute there. I think it's just having us all on. So I just want to congratulate you all who've been consistent and participating. If I forgot to mention your name, we're going to blame that on the fact that I'm dealing with some stomach flu and a respiratory infection. And you can give yourself a shout out, but as I have said to other people, toot your own horn. It's okay to do that from time to time. It's not about being arrogant or prideful, but to give yourself recognition for the hard work you've done. But I want to thank everybody for these 9 weeks. Again, we had that one delay week because I was having some issues with pain, but I'm excited to be able to wrap up the month. And this is going to be a bit more of a discussion, but I'm going to just review here some what we're going to go over in terms of questions today. And then we're going to talk about our next steps. So the first question we're going to talk about today is, where was your personal business, your team, and your own work when this group started on August 29th? The next is, because of what you've learned through this leadership experience, what has changed? What has changed in your thinking, in the structures or systems of your Trades of Hope business? What has changed in your heart over these weeks? What's changed about your team? Maybe you have a team. What's changed in your ability to grow as a CE? Your team's ability to grow as a CE. The next question is, what have your wins been as a result of engaging this leadership experience? We want to celebrate those wins that have popped up over the last 9-10 weeks. And then the last piece that we're going to talk about today is what our next steps. What do you need to grow, to continue to grow and mature as a CE leader in Trades of Hope? So I'm going to unmute us, and we're going to start back with the first question. But for those of you who are watching the replay, those are the questions I'm hoping you'll be able to comment on in the comments below. And as I've been saying all the way through, when you all engage the video and you comment, that's helpful for me. And those who are on the call, you can hear what they're saying, but if they are able to comment below too, that's helpful for people. So I'm going to unmute us, and we're going to start with the first question. I'm going to have Nancy, I'm going to have you unmute yourself when you're ready, because when I unmute you, I get a funny feedback in the background. The wah, wah, wah. So, but when you want to respond, you unmute yourself. So where was your personal business, your team, your own work when you started in this group on August 29th? So whoever wants to share can share. And there's only 2 of you, so sorry.
Okay. Okay, August 29th, I had 1 CE and me. And now I have 3 CEs and me. So my team has grown. And really, I was kind of, I had that empower high, and I had come down off the mountaintop into the valley. Because I came back with a lot of enthusiasm and excitement and ready to go, and then reality hit, and I just went, ugh. So that's where I was August 29th. But now, like I said, my team is growing and a lot of excitement, and I picked up on Shelby's leaky gene, because it really touches my heart to see the enthusiasm and the excitement that's going on, not only in my heart, but in the hearts of the girls that are on my team. And it doesn't necessarily look like it in their numbers, but I know that they're telling stories and that they're spreading the word, and and letting others know about our artisans and everything. So that's exciting to me. So that's where we come.
Awesome. That's great. It is fun to see your team grow, and it makes a difference too when you're not doing this alone, right? And especially you've got girls who are like geographically present. So
right, exactly.
Okay. Well, I came back from Empower the same way she did, and I was excited. Only I don't think I hit the wall like you did. So I was pretty excited and felt like it really, even though I had just joined in May, I felt like by being at Empower, it really catapulted me, feeling like I was part of the organization and a lot more understanding of the people. And I just felt like a part of it a lot more than I probably would have if I hadn't gone to Empower. So when I went, I think I had 1 CE, and now I have 4, which is pretty exciting, I think. I was like, are you sure? Then I also have, of those, she got 1 and she got 1. Yeah, so I have, and then one of the other ones got it. Anyway, there's more. I have it written down, but so this morning, but anyway, that's pretty exciting. And so I was a qualified CE, of course, and then I was a lead CE, and then I was an ace CE, and I was hoping to be a master CE this month, but I also know that even back when I was doing my Smart Starts, I had goals to do all 3 of my Smart Start goals, but each of those, the second, the third month, life happened, like babies were born and moms were in, dire straits and they needed help. And so life happens and you just have to go with it and say, Lord, those are the goals that I had, but that doesn't mean it, So that's what's happening this month here, because one of my CEs is having an issue with something really that I need. I need 3 to be 1,000, and one of them just can't get there because of issues that are happening. And so I'm going, okay, the Lord, that's fine. We'll do it another month. It's not a big deal. It's the other things that are happening are more, serious. So, and my group volume has, gone at least doubled, I think. I was trying to figure that out. My personal is huge, but so anyway, it's been fun. I've grown a lot in numbers and team and all that stuff. So thank you.
I forgot. I went from QCE to LCE. That was started out as QCE.
So this is fabulous, girls. I'm loving this. So you've seen that you have rank promotions. Rank promotions come with growing your team, and that is the company's way of celebrating and thanking you for growing your team and growing your impact. And then in terms of new CEs, Nancy, you actually have 9 girls on your team now. So you have personally sponsored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then your girls have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, you have 9 altogether. So that's awesome. So 5 personal, 5 directs, and a team of 9. That's amazing in this period of time. So both of you have had great growth, and you've had, and then you have that opportunity to see how then that blesses artisans, that blesses those girls who joined you and their families and their ability to change people's lives. Plus, you all are being able to provide more for your families too in the meanwhile. So that's great. It's a win-win-win, right? So that's exciting. Great. So fun. So because of this leadership experience, what do you think that's changed about your thinking?
Wait. Well, I had written down that I thought that as a result of what I've learned through this session here is that I really need to focus more on hostess coaching. And that sounds kind of strange because I'm doing, I'm sponsoring and that's going great and I'm working with a team, but that's just, in some ways that just sort of happened. They didn't come they didn't come through hostessing things. It's the way that people have come is, that they just, God brought them to me. That's all.
Relationships you had and things.
Yeah, right. So I still have, my need is still working with hostesses and coaching them beforehand and making sure, and I need to do that with my Facebook parties as well as my in-person ones. So I've learned that, I don't know if I knew it in my head, but it's sort of like it's really changed my thinking that I have to really work at it and make a plan to do and use those sheets that they have that give us guidelines of what to check myself off, because I think I do too much. And I just I'm one of those people, my sister and I kind of squirrel, I kind of like find so many other things to do. I'm a very flexible person, but in flexibility, you sometimes forget some of the things you should be doing. So,
so you have that tracker now. And so you can go through that tracker and just put the dates in or check it off. Yep. Mm-hmm. As you do that.
Hi, Betsy.
Hi, Betsy. Glad you're on.
Like your haircut.
Happy Halloween. I was telling the girls I came on with, I've got my Wonder Woman look on here today. Decided to go for that for Halloween. And I'm going to unmute you because we're talking today to each other. There we go. So now we can hear you. Hi there.
I like your outfit.
Yeah, I'm going with the Wonder Woman look. I thought I'd spruce up the t-shirt.
I wish I could take a screenshot for my daughter. I like that. I don't know how. So.
Happy Halloween.
Take a picture of yourself and post it on Facebook. That you're a Trades of Hope Wonder Woman.
I am. I've been wearing Wonder Woman. I told the girls I've been wearing it all like the last week. I was like, I just needed a little extra inspiration. So I've been wearing this t-shirt at bed, and I've got pajama bottoms that are Wonder Woman. Wearing my Wonder Woman socks. And
you'll have to pass on the info where to get that.
I can send you some info.
Yeah.
Definitely. So Betsy had something going on with her little side gig there with the lawyer, so she had some work to do this morning. So glad you could come on. So what we were talking about, Betsy, is going through those questions I posted for this week, and the opportunity the girls have already shared. Just wanting to ask you where was your personal business, your team, and your own work when you started in August 29th? Like, how's things grown? We're looking for kind of this little overview. So like Michaela shared, her team has grown and that she's had more movement seen more movement in her heart and in her teams. She's grown in rank. And so has Nancy. Nancy talked about Empower, really catapulted her to feel more connected to the company. And she's had a big boom in growth in her team from 1 to 9 people, and also grew in rank too. So I just was curious to hear how you feel like being a part of this group has helped you grow.
Well, so when I started, I had technically 2 CEs, 1 active, 1 non-active. And I am still a QCE. So there's no quantifiable like numbers of this many people came on, this many. So my process is going to be a different growth than your traditional, like, oh, I got more CEs or I, moved up in rank. And I've come to the realization that that's good for me right now. Like, that's okay. I'm planting the seeds that are hopefully going to grow, and it's just taking a longer path, and I won't get into the nitty gritty, but the trying to re-network yourself in a community where we're newer to the community and we're new to the school system. So we're rebuilding everything. We are not in a church, although we did finally find a church on Sunday, I think, to go to. So we've kind of been void of some things that put you in places with people. So myself and actually my husband have been trying to figure out where to insert ourselves into the community. So I've been encouraging my sister to do that because who's my other CE. So I would say that the growth is that normally I do look to the bigger goals and forget the little things in between, but the Lord is really showing me this is a time sort of the verses about us. Who else is on this call? Okay, this is okay to wax a little theological. Just that a seed falls to the ground and dies before it can bear fruit. And both my husband and I feel like, yep, we get that. But I feel like that transcends into a lot of my life, including this. Because this is the first time, I don't know if the two, Nancy or Michaela, know, I've done 6 other network marketing businesses that I felt really passionate about, but because of different things just never worked out. So I am feeling like this is a long haul for me. Like I'm in it for the longevity with Trades of Hope, which is different from the other companies I was in. And so, because of what's going on in our life, I have to take those small steps to get to the bigger ones. And so I'm just trying to be positive about that. Like I'm doing a vendor event in 3 weeks. The first one, I've gone to this vendor event for years. It's huge, like 800 women come through this thing. So, and it's right up the street from me. Like I could walk there. So I'm excited that, not a huge thing, but it is huge. So I'm like, that's a big deal. We found a vendor event, my sister too. I found a vendor event and I was adamant that I'm going to be in my community and not on the other side of Cleveland or other places. I need to start here. So I guess I would say that my thinking has changed and that I'm not by dint a positive thinking person. So I'm thinking more positively. I'm believing in the small steps to get to the bigger goals, which I typically miss that, which I think that's important. So no like big, woohoo, I made it to whatever, but I'm, I have parties coming up, and even at the end of the month, we have today, and I feel like God has been gracious to help me. These little blessings. My mother-in-law called last week and said, I want to do a catalog party. I'm like, again? Like she keeps doing this. And I think she may be, I'm going to call her today. I told Nicole, but she may be placing a Christmas order in this catalog party that may get her to the 200 in order to, I don't think she's doing it for the warrior cuff. I can tell you that. But I know she could give it to me, but it just lined up. And so I'm calling her today. We'll see what she has, but it's just, like that, yay for her, good for me. She would be my one hostess that keeps partying with me, even though she's my family, but I don't have to beg her. She's just there. So that's like a little thing that's still a big thing. And so that's kind of how I'm growing. And that is a shift. Normally I would think, oh, wow, this isn't going so well, but I'm looking at it differently. Small steps lead to bigger things. So I'm just trying to stay consistent.
That's fabulous, Betsy. And growth doesn't always look the same across the board. Cindy and I talk about this a lot. Like Cindy joined 3 weeks after me, and our experience in she's my first CE. So, and our experience in some respects has been very different. That I went from, being myself to being like 59 people in about a year and a half total, the 50 some of them in the second full year, where she's probably at like 7 or 8 CEs now. Like she's really done most of her sponsoring this year, and it's not because she hasn't put the opportunity out there. We've sometimes discussed maybe it was the way she was presenting, maybe it was too much words, maybe it wasn't not enough. I don't know, because I've never seen her present. But it's God's timing, and everybody does her business differently. And she's still a leader. Like she still really gets the business. She's a great seller. She's great at her, developing her relationships with her hostesses. She has that is one of her strong suits. Just while we want more and more people to join the company, because that's the way we're able to hire more and more artisans, and there's a larger kind of army of us, so to speak, out there sharing hope. That's not the only measure of growth. I just was on the phone yesterday with Holly, and we had a good conversation. And we were talking about this idea of leadership, and the leadership is more than a rank or a title. The leadership is really the way you carry yourself, how you treat people, and how you engage others. If you're really going to encourage, my philosophy is, if you're going to encourage, equip, and empower others, that's really what leadership's about. And it sounds to me from what you're saying here that you've seen that in yourself, and you've seen that growth in Mary. And I have. It's been fun to see Mary take to Facebook Live more and showcase things that she's doing. Just kind of push herself to get out more in the community too. And I think doing this vendor event, one of the benefits of a vendor event is always the fact that it gives you opportunity to meet people you wouldn't have connected with otherwise to party. And so I'm strategic about, I don't do a ton of them anymore. I've never done a lot of them in general, but I'm strategic about where I go to have them. Like you're saying, you want to party in your community, so you're going to this vendor event in your community. I want a CE up in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, so I did a vendor event up there, which is now allowing me to party up there, and I feel confident I'm going to find somebody up there, because I want to grow my team in some different places around, not just around the U.S., but around where I'm at, because I'd like to have more of a local presence. So.
I think it's interesting. I'll say this one last thing. I said this to Nicole, and it may have come out wrong, but I've been pondering it for weeks. I don't know Michaela or Nancy very well, but I already sensed from being at conference, and I definitely know from you, like some people exhibit naturally leadership abilities. I am not that person. I've always been more of a helper. I don't think entrepreneurial. That's not my default, but it's good to learn these things. But even in this, going through this with everyone, it's a super challenge to me, because all the church tests you can take, like the Enneagram and all those, I am strength finders. I am more of a helper and a shepherd than I am. My husband, I keep saying, you should be on my side for Trades of Hope, because you'd be the best. You'd make us so much money, because that's his thing, network sales. He loves it. He does it when he doesn't have to. He talks about Trades of Hope some weeks more than me. I think it's good to understand that. And then like, how can I know that and be like, that's good. That doesn't mean I can't be a leader. So the way I engage Mary, or even with my hostesses, I can't force myself into this mold, but I think, well, I am helping them. I'm leading them. Yes. But I can live into what my natural gifts are without, and that's a huge shift. I don't think I would have ever thought that if I hadn't like listened to all of you. And because at the beginning I was like, man, this is hard. I am not tracking. I don't, but the Lord has given me wisdom to see things play out differently for everyone. And that doesn't mean that's still not a version of leadership or, help. So even though I've got the one, and I have chased after Alyssa, and I'll keep seeing what's going on there. Mary is really struggling. I'm glad you see a positive side of that, but this week she's really struggling, but she's still there. So, but I think as I network, I tried to tell her, sometimes you have to lay the foundation, and the steps to do it are boring and they're monotonous or they're uncomfortable, like networking people. But if we don't do that, we're not going to get to the other place that you see other people posting about if you don't do those things,
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I do want to start with saying, Betsy, you definitely are a leader. I picked that up from you when I met you. But leader doesn't always mean a big mouth, gregarious person like me.
No, I don't mean that.
I'm just saying that's the way I see myself often. I'm like, I'm running myself off. I'm like up front. No. But there's so many different types of leaders, and that's what I love. That's one of the reasons why I love the Enneagram, because it shows all these different personality types, and there's so much value in each one. But we need those folks who are like my husband, you're like my husband, the helper leader.
Mhm,
You know, Russ
mhm.
won't naturally take the microphone and get up and talk in front of everyone or tell everybody the group needs to go this way now or, you know, to get to dinner or whatever. That's not his MO. It's more mine. But he leads all the time and he's like behind the scenes kind of supportive. And I love that our team has a variety of different personalities. I mean, even if you sat at the director's call, our personalities are very broad. You know, you've got Jill Butler, who is just wild and crazy, which you picked that up, I'm sure, at Empower. She's nuts. And she's just real gregarious. And I mean, she makes me like look like a wallflower. And then you have someone who's really quiet and behind the scenes kind of gal, like Jamie Driggers or Jenny DeCajon. Like they're not going to they're not going to necessarily like captivate an audience with their like glamorous personality. They're beautiful women and I love them and I learn from them, but they take the softer, more like humble approach, which is valuable. It's valuable on our directors team. It's obviously valuable to the girls on their teams because they've all become directors with very different personalities than somebody like an Erin or Jill or even myself, you know? So that's one of the beauties that I see in Trades of Hope is that it's all kinds of women are growing all kinds of teams and businesses. And you're going to do that just the way God made you to do that. And so I'm excited about that. And I just think continuing to encourage your team, encouraging is really, I always say there's two things I do in Trades of Hope consistently, and it's encourage and tell stories. And I think that that's really at the heart of what we're doing. So I think you're on track there too. And like Cindy, like it's going to maybe be, like you said, this big planting season, you know, but the harvest is going to come and you'll have all kinds of world changers alongside of you. So I'm excited about that. So thank you for sharing that perspective. That was helpful. All right. Well, I'm going to move us on to our next question. So because of what you learned at Leadership Experience, what's changed in your thinking, your structures and systems, in your team's abilities to grow as CEs? So what has been about this process, the material that we engaged, that's caused change? Who'd like to share? You have to unmute yourself.
Well, it's nice to have, I think we talked about earlier, to have someone not only in my area that I can meet with regularly, but also someone that's extremely enthusiastic right now about building her business and learning more about Trades of Hope. And so for me, I go back to just this last week where you talked to us about encouraging our team. And I feel like it's been a two-way street. I feel like not only am I encouraging her and imparting to her what I know to this point, but she has encouraged me and given me a freshness and a new excitement. But one of the things you talked about was equipping them. And I think you told me early on, Shelby, because I was struggling with like always having to feel like I had to be there for them all the time. And you were like, honey, no, you point them to where they can find the information for themselves. And so, you know, I sent her to the back office for something. And so she had more time than I mean, she's an empty nester. She has more time than I do. And so last night when we met, she was so excited because she had found something that she wanted to share with me. She had found the catalog in an Excel spreadsheet.
Uh-huh.
And so because she's an accountant, she went and changed the sales tax to our local sales tax and did it for our whole team. So now we all have these. And she also saved it in a way that we can put it into our squares and stuff. And then she found this other nifty little thing for us to have at our vendor event. And I was just like, that was so encouraging to me because I felt like just by me encouraging her to go and equip herself, she was equipping our whole team.
Yes.
And so that was probably the thing for me because I am more of I'm more kind of like Shelby in the sense of the way I lead. I'm just kind of out there. I'm the one that's making the loudest noise in the room going, hey, everybody, how's everybody doing? And she's more like that too. But I have very little time to engage in some things that I need to be engaging in. Is, for instance, playing back in the back office and finding these things. So I feel like now my team is growing in big, huge ways because there's somebody on our team that is saying, you know what? Hey, I'm the one with the time. I'm going to find all this stuff that we need and I'm going to share it with the whole team and we're going to grow together. Mm-hmm. So that's encouraging too, for me. So, and it's just neat to be able to take what I'm learning here and impart it to my team and then see the fruition of it, to see the growth, to see things start sprouting up and everything just by, what we do right here every week. So.
So as you're putting what you're learning into action, you're seeing things blossom, which is
That's
awesome,
right.
And that's how I feel about, I want that cheat sheet she made. Go to the back office.
Go to the back office.
But that's how I feel too. And every time I go on, I was talking with Holly yesterday. I said, every time I go on a director's call, I think, okay, like I got so much information. It's kind of like standing in front of a fire hydrant some weeks with your mouth wide open. And so I'm like, okay, what can I use now? What can I give away immediately to the girls on my team? Who needs this? Maybe there's an individual or there's a group of people, or maybe it's the team as a whole. But I think that's a sign of great leadership, is that you're seeing then that fruit for her to be able then, not only was she equipped, but you've empowered her by sending her there and helping her find the answer on her own. Now she's been empowered to share that with the rest of your team. And it'd actually be a great thing for you to encourage her. She could go onto our team page and do a little video. She could do a little live video on the Team Share the Love page and say, hey, here's this resource in the back office, and here's how you all can modify it to work for you. I would love that. I mean, sometimes people call that Shelby's team page, and I said, my name is not in the title intentionally. I don't call this Shelby's CE team. This idea of sharing the love, is for sure what we do when we're out in the public talking about our artisans. It's what we're doing towards our artisans. But I also want people to share the love in the team, like share the information you have, share encouragement with one another, empower one another, because I don't want to be the end all be all on that team page. That wouldn't be fair to everybody. There's too many amazing women for that to be the Shelby show. So it's not my goal. And it's like I said, I was very intentional about the naming of the group so that it wasn't just my team. And I've had to coach some people and say, like, hey, this is our team page. Please share. So have your was that Deanna that came up with all that info? Yeah, have Deanna share all that. Am I saying her name right? Have her share that on there, because that would be a great little tutorial. And I would say that I wish I would have had the printout on Saturday, because I did that big vendor event at my husband's school, and I didn't think about how you're like on freaking lockdown there. It's like being in the Pentagon. I couldn't get my Square to work there. I could get on the internet, but I couldn't get my Square. And my Square has my entire catalog in it. I was ready to go. I was all organized. And I get in that stinking building, and I could not pull up my Square to be able to process anything. So I had to do it all manually. I had to go to my website. Thankfully, I could get my website open to look up prices and product numbers. It was just annoying. And I was like, I should have had a printout. But I so rely on technology, and I've never had any trouble anywhere else with it. So that would be, and the idea that she changed the prices based on the percentage, that can be helpful too, for sure. So that's great. So that's why I shared the Google info. Yep. Thank you. And maybe I could pay her to do mine. That's pretty resourceful thinking right there, Betsy. Outsource. All right. How about somebody else? How other Who else would say that they have seen thinking, structures and systems, change in your team's ability to grow as CEs? Who wants to share? Pardon me.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Let's see here. I think I really appreciated the structures that we were given, the structures, the systems. Again, earlier I mentioned about using the, my brain just went, bloop, that sheet that we have, the check sheet, that we're talking about for what the CEs do and all that stuff.
The new CE tracker?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. So yeah, I feel like that will help me. I know what to do. I think the structure of my, it's in my head and it's in my heart, but it's like needs to get worked out into the discipline of doing it. Some of the structures, I felt I like the ideas of Sunday nights preparing for the week. I like this ideas of thinking through each night what you're going to do the next day. I love all those things, but I don't do them. So I'm still there in terms of having them there, knowing that I want to do it. I'm actually getting to bed 15 minutes earlier every night still. That's a start. Going to bed earlier is a good thing. I'm working on that, but I just need to get some of those other things in place. And I think, let's see, some of the other things, something else that I found, I'm trying to think, combining all these things together. One of the things I felt was really helpful to me throughout this whole time, when we did the incentive to do the bookings in September, I did a whole bunch of bookings. I got a lot of things, and I got a lot of vendor events. So starting this weekend, I'm booked. Well, I'm doing Saturdays. All the Saturdays in November are vendor events. And so I'm encouraged with that, and I'm encouraged with other bookings that I have, people who are asking for bookings and things like that. So that was a weakness that I had, and I feel like this has actually strengthened that, given me encouragement and confidence in how to go about getting more. And let's see here. So I guess it's just I've seen growth in myself. I've seen things I need to do still, and nothing major exciting, but I have seen what I need to do and go forward and do it.
Well, and I've seen that, Nancy, because in part, I see it in your PRV, right? You're selling more because you're booking, you're partying more, and then therefore you're selling more. And that's really, at the heart of what Trades of Hope does. That's what artisans need. They need that marketplace engagement on a regular basis. And I say to people all the time, it's really about consistency is what the artisans need. And so if your consistent thing is a party a month, then great. If your consistent thing is a party a month, awesome. A week, awesome, right? But it is when it's that hit or miss that is harder for the artisans long term, because if we're not selling at a consistent rate every month, then their artisan group can't keep them working. And we saw that very clearly with well, not so much because of our impact, but we saw that with Shelley's group in Haiti. So the Trades of Hope team has been consistently working this whole time. She's not been able to let anybody go from that group. But because other vendors haven't been shopping in their consistent way, she had to let a bunch of people go. Like, she had to lay them off just because she didn't have the money there. And so... And so as we sell more, and even I've been thinking, like with Haiti, that was one of the beautiful things about doing all the pieces for the breast cancer awareness was from Haiti, that's really a blessing on those artisans, because maybe that helps her and Chandler hire even more people in their groups to be able to keep working. But for us to keep having more compassionate entrepreneurs who are selling even more products, not just from Haiti, but all around the globe, then those artisan founders are able to hire even more people and keep them working. So booking, partying, hostess coaching are really helpful. and they always, I think it's Mary Christensen that says, selling's income for today, booking is income for tomorrow, sponsoring is income for a lifetime. And in our situation, that's not just for us. That's income for our artisans too. It's different. And Mary was on a call recently. They had the author of that book come on and talk with directors and managers a couple weeks ago. And she was talking in part about that uniqueness, that we're not just doing this for ourselves for a luxury cruise, but we're doing this to help others rise up too. And so, but that consistency is really important. So yeah, I can't underscore that enough. All right, Betsy, did you have anything on those changes that you wanted to add there? Or I'm going to move on to the next question if not. No, you can? Okay. So what would you say have been your wins as a result of being a part of leadership? Like, what do you want to celebrate in terms of wins? We talk about this a lot, the directors level on our team calls every so often. That's what the founders do, is we just have to talk, we just share what we would say our wins have been. So in these 10 weeks, what has been a win for you? Maybe the way in which you engaged your business with your own personal business, your team, a particular CE, a hostess, whatever. So it's open-ended. What's your win?
I think my win was stepping outside of my fear, which is really odd for me, because I am a leader to even have fear in this way, but my fear of doing a vendor event. And so the new freshness that my team has encouraged me to go and find a vendor event. I actually, the first step was to ask someone if they knew where there was one. That was number one. And to get the information, and then to be brave enough to actually send in the application, because I really had talked myself into, probably someone else had, because they only have one company, one person, one representative from each company or whatever, there. And I was like, I bet you another Traits of Hope person had already done it. And, well, no, of course there's not one. It is me. So I actually was brave enough
of us for there to be that kind of competition, right?
No.
Unless you're like in Aurora, Illinois, or Palm Coast, Florida. There's a whole bunch of them in the
right. So, but I actually did it. And even when I got there, I was negative talking big time. Look who's here. This is not going to be anything. This is going to be so small. It's not going to be productive. I've got a grandbaby coming today. I'm not even going to be able to stay here that long. Why am I here? Why did I go through all this trouble? I'm not even going to make my money back. Okay, you know what? The Lord just said, okay, Michaela, I'm just going to show you who I am, okay? Because obviously you've forgotten. And he just really blessed the day. I didn't have to leave. The event was from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. My son called me at 2:15 to get to the hospital. So I only had 45 minutes left in the day anyway. And so, and then it was a wonderful event. I mean, I sold a ton of stuff off my, table, plus ended up with people. I mean, even things that I didn't think would sell. The Alden bag sold right off my table, jumped right off. I was like, wow, didn't expect that. Mosaic clutches, did not see that coming either. And so, it was just things like that. And, but then also, so then my win was going, okay, that was fun. I did it. All right, where's the next one? So now I'm pumped and ready to find all these vendor events, and I'm constantly searching for them now. And, wanting to do them because I loved talking to the people. I loved telling the stories. I loved the fact that I could stand in the middle of my booth with someone and tell a story, and both of us are sitting there with tears just streaming down our faces as we reflected on, where these women were and where they are now today. And that, for me, I have such a small part in all of that, but my small part makes a difference. So, so that's my win. I did a vendor event and I'm ready to do more.
Great.
There we go.
Michaela, back out there. That's awesome. Well, it's such a different way of doing your business. I always say to folks, you have to have your sound bites. I can't give you my whole party spiel, but you pick up that mosaic clutch and I can talk about how there's not going to be another one that's going to look like yours, that they're all unique based on the different dialects, the weaving patterns are in the different dialects, and that we are empowering women out of poverty by providing them with a good job. And so just those little stories are so helpful. It's a great place.
Well, do you know how I got people in? I had the little cereal box bracelets, I had the little Haiti bracelets. I had them sitting up front on a little bracelet holder thingy. And so people would come in and I'd say, do you know about Trades of Hope? And they go, no. And I'd grab one of the bracelets off in front of them. I'd just reach over and grab a bracelet and say, tell me, what do you think this is made of? And then they guess, they were shells, whatever. And I said, nope. And then I tell them, and I've got them. Because then I sold a lot of those bracelets too, just because I was telling the story, and I was telling the story about how, some of these mamas were feeding that red clay to their babies just to stop them from crying. But now they use that red clay to have a business, just everything. And that was my hook, that was my hook to get them in. And then from there they were in and they were looking at other stuff. So
yeah. No, I think that's why the Haiti bracelets are great. I now have cereal boxes I just put out on my display with me. And at my vendor event on Saturday, I had a mason jar full of Cheerios, 541 Cheerios. I counted into that little jar. That took a lot more time than I anticipated. But just to be able to engage people and to be able to point at a box and say, this box is worth $40 worth of beads in Haiti. Like that kind of stuff. In an economy where people only make $400, this is a big deal. And people's eyes were just huge, So yeah, you're wise to do that, to be able to pull people in and give people the opportunity to, you're really drawing them into the bigger story. So it's awesome. Yeah, better events are great to do that tableside education. It's great to find hostesses. I don't go to a vendor event typically thinking I'm going to make a lot of money. That's never my goal. It's awesome when it happens. I've had some that have been close to 1,000. I've had many that were a couple hundred. But I feel like if I make what I paid to be there and get hostesses or potential CE leads, then I've really made a good profit off of that. It's really for me about getting out in the community, getting our name out there, and giving people the opportunity to learn how to give gifts that give twice. So
I didn't see the networking coming that I received that day. It was pretty awesome. So
it is pretty neat. I left my event with like 4 or 5 hostesses the other day. So it's good. All right. What about other wins?
I'm still laughing at Michaela here, so just having a great time. My comment about I love vendor events because I'm a people person, and I love to get out and just talk to people and just get the word out about, whatever. So I enjoy vendor events just for that purpose. But it just cracks me up that Michaela, that was just, it's not, like you said, I would not have expected that of you. And, but I think it's great. So you're all set to go now. It's cool. I'm trying to figure out wins. I'm looking and going, my wins are that I've got some CEs that want to grow, and that's exciting. I've done a lot, like Betsy, I've done lots of network marketing programs and have had 1 or 2 maybe consultants under me at various times. And, it seems like I've struggled and pushed and really worked hard at them. And this is just totally different. I feel like I'm working it, but I love working it. I love helping knowing that if I don't work, the artisans don't work. I'm working with them. Have this dignified partnership that has motivated me to do this more than anything else I've done in any of the other companies I've been in. And I've really enjoyed just having, God bringing people to me and having people say that they want to be part of this. And it was, at the beginning, it was a little frustrating because nobody locally wants to have parties or wanted to, probably because I'd done so many other parties or things that I tried in the past. So they kind of steer away from me, so I was like, so I have to kind of go, okay, I'll just try to get this out to other people. And that's why eventually it's going to come back around locally. But I think people need to see it more from the outside, seeing things happen. So, anyway, I just feel like the win is just that God has been gracious enough to allow me to have this exciting growth that's taken place in a short period of time, which is, and it's kind of funny too, because I thought about one of the other wins is that my husband has watched me do all these other things and never seen much results, and so he's kind of like, I'm telling him I'm doing it, but he this is the only one he's never done the books for. He's always done my books for me. So I really have no clue what I'm making. I know that I'm just kind of keep spending the money to buy more stuff, kind of thing. And there's money there and kind of stuff. But I keep telling him, I'm making money. There's money there. It's okay. It's really good. And so I'm looking forward to when I can finally say, this is what we have over here, and this is what I have in the bank account. I haven't said words to him at all because I just don't want him to be, I don't know. It's encouraging. He's driving me to Florida, and he's going to stay with some friends, and we like to travel places. So, it's just kind of fun. A win is that I think he's on board, but he's kind of, he's always been on board because he thought it was great, but it's just been kind of, yeah. His like, we'll see. We've heard this before. We'll see if this is going to take, we'll see if this is going to do it, and I feel like God's been gracious in my 68th year of my life to pull this off, so it's like, it's about time. Thank you, Lord.
I love it because Nancy's done a lot of companies, and when I asked her to host, and then we started talking about the Trades of Hope business side of it, she's like, oh, Denny said I wasn't allowed to join any more direct sales companies. And I said, well, this one, it might be worth sharing some things with him because this one's different. And I've not had any experiences before this really. And so it just was, I knew it in the heart of things that Denny would get it. And so it's been really exciting to see how things have grown. And then hopefully over time, it is going to continue to confirm it for him that this was the right place. And so maybe he'll find himself at Inspire with you next year, and he can meet the Bros of Hope and just have the opportunity to meet the founders' husbands, and just a lot of great guys they're coming. Some guys come because they're skeptical and they're still not sure about the company. But the majority of them are there because they want to support their wives. And this is kind of a fun way for them to do it too, because they have a good time when they all come together also. So that's great, Nancy. Thank you. How about you, Betsy? What wins do you have to share?
I think similar to what I said earlier, just the shift in thinking, and really just because I could say, oh, there was this defeating thing that happened with this wonderful woman who hunted me down to become a CE with Trades of Hope. I don't know if you remember me telling you. And then she just evaporated. Was the strangest thing. She found me, she called me, she came to 2 parties, she placed 3 parties. She placed orders. We had countless appointments set up to have coffee and to talk further, and cancel, and then she evaporated. So, those kinds of things. I could say, oh, brother, this isn't working, that isn't working. But instead I'm seeing myself, you just have to, I don't know if it's because I've done those other companies, whereas I'm watching Mary get really discouraged by people, but I'm trying to tell her, like, that's the name of the game. I mean, like, if you work with people, including yourself, they're going to let you down at some point. It's just how it is. So if, like, she just had a hostess cancel and it's just deflated her immensely, and I'm trying to be that positive voice, and I think, and for myself, which sounds like, of course you would need to be that. You're the team leader or whatever, but that's not my typical usually I'm there to comfort and go, yeah, that is bad. Like that's my default. But it's helpful for me to think differently. I mean, yes, I did show compassion too. Like that does suck when your hostess cancels for the third time, but there's other people out there, and so just that's a huge win for me. It's just to say, and Kevin, my husband, who's in business himself, and like I said, he's very entrepreneurial thinking, business, sales, he loves it all. He's been helpful too, because that's what he actually does for his job, is network to get new loans for the bank. So he's been helpful to encourage me about, yes, it's hard, but you've got to stay consistent. So that isn't, again, like a huge quantifiable
No, that's great.
win, but it's helping me on a daily basis to look outside of boxes and failures and say, what can I learn from this to do this differently? And I've really been telling Mary, because she's getting discouraged. I've got a party. I know it's about partying, but how do you party if there aren't any people? Well, it's not rocket science. We got to meet more people. So, we're not maybe in the same place as some other people who have a bunch of people to pull from, but we got to find those bunches of people.
Right.
So it's little things that we can overlook, that we forget make the big difference in the end. So that's kind of,
Well, the one thing I would say too is that if you need to meet people, and I think I talked about this with you on our way home from Columbus, is that it's putting yourself in places where there are people. So
right.
It's joining a class, at the Y,
Right.
And going to these are all the things I did in campus ministry to meet non-Christians, to be able to have an opportunity to share the gospel, because it was really easy once you're running a campus ministry group just to hang out with Christians all week long. And not that that was a bad thing, but I wanted other people to know the hope.
Yeah.
And so, but it's becoming a fixture places. So I know everybody knew I was at this one cafe on campus every Tuesday and Thursday during these hours. And I was at I did a lot of cafes. I was at Susan's, another cafe, and other days. And then I was over, and I did take certain, I always took these certain water aerobics classes at the gym. And so it was my way to be able to rub shoulders with people I wouldn't encounter otherwise. And like in those places where I was meeting consistently, I really got to know a lot of the staff and had opportunities to get to know people there. So as you are going, so I go now to Biff Cat, Beaver Falls Coffee and Tea, and I know Abby and some of the other staff, and they see me come in. I do my, I go there to do just work. If it's hospice or Trades of Hope, I meet people there for coffee chats, because I sell fair trade coffee when I want to do opportunity conversations with people. And I also just sometimes just go there to chill out, but it is one of the places that it's on my rhythms where I'm getting to know people. Also the Starbucks by my office and hospice, and starting to build relationships there. So it's just putting yourself in places where we're going to see people regularly. And that, because this is very much a relationship building business. So we have to get out there in the community. I think vendor events helps. Even doing vendor events over year after year, I've showed up at a couple of them with repetition. People are like, oh, hey, you're here again. How great to see you. And then my sales have gotten bigger each year. I've done those repeat events, if I think it's a good repeat event to be at.
Right.
So, but that has blossomed over time too. But because I think people are creatures of habit, and people are, so that if you keep showing up, you're going to keep running into the people who keep showing up too.
Right. And I think it's, I see that, I can see this in her, and I think I could see it in Alyssa but I know that her non-activity is more due to that she's found herself as a new single mom and had to get a full-time job, and just acquired like an 8 to 5 serious full-time job. So that's kind of put a kibosh on her activity for now. But when you don't, I don't know what other CEs I'll have someday, but and I don't know where your CEs come from, Michaela or Nancy, but like Mary doesn't come from a business background and doesn't think in those terms, and I don't either. I just happen to be married to one who does, and so I see it, and Mary's husband's in a different kind of job. But you forget that, like, if we worked for Verizon or AT&T, this is very similar to what we would have to do. You know what I'm saying? And so you forget that, and I've been trying to like relay that to her, like it feels like a club and a fun thing you're doing on the side, but if you want to make money or feel the excitement and the wins that all these other people are feeling, you know, you have to look at it a little bit differently. Like if I was an AT&T rep, I would be doing X, Y, and Z, you know, they wouldn't be coming to me. It wouldn't be all my friends going, sign me up for AT&T, you know? So.
No, you have to be out in the community. Also, you have to, I mean, this is something I'm learning. I'm not a business person. In fact, I didn't really like the business world.
I don't either.
Hope, and I'm usually extremely suspicious of it. I was suspicious of Trades of Hope. I mean, I went to my first retreat just to make sure that they were legitimate. You know, that was really the heart of why I was going there. Are these women who they really are, like I'm seeing on video? And they were. So they were genuine. But you have to learn about this industry, and I've only been really engaging the direct sales piece of it for I would say probably the last 6 to 7, maybe 8 months. So I think reading books like the books that Mary Christensen wrote, Being a Direct Selling Superstar.
That's true. I should recommend her to read that. I think
going on someone fun that follows the tag team. There are these 2 women who make these Monday minivan sessions. They're hilarious. They've got a lot of great tips. There's a wide variety of resources. And there's people out there who I'm like, gosh, their shtick would never fly in Trades of Hope. But what I can do is pull out the information in there that is helpful and then talk with people about that. I don't have to buy their whole kind of package, you know, their whole mentality about it, but I can glean what is good and what aligns with what I'm at. I don't have to give my critique or waste my energy thinking like, you know, if I hear them talk about the Lexus one more time, I'm going to like, I don't want to choke somebody. Like that, you know, I don't have to get into all that. Instead, I can say, oh, this is interesting, what I can take from this and be able to apply to my business, to give away to my team, to be able to, you know, enhance how I engage things. Because the reality is I don't know this world. I don't know the direct sales world. I'm learning about it. And I need more training. And so that's why doing things like this book has been helpful. To be honest, I haven't even covered all of the book in this group, but what I have contributed, a lot of what I've contributed to this group has come from this book, or new things that I'm learning, as well as just things I've gleaned over the last year or 2 with the company. So I think we can equip ourselves, and we talk about this a lot in the director's level. There's 4 ways you should be spending your time. You need to be selling, so it means you need to be at parties or events. You need to be booking parties and building relationships with hostesses, coaching them. You need to be sponsoring, inviting people into the opportunity, and then personal growth. Like you need to be able to develop yourself, because who's it? Buffett, he reads like 4 hours a day about how to be, you know, great in his industry. Well, he is great. Like everybody says, like what he does is so amazing. I don't even really understand what he does. I just know that Warren Buffett is out there. But all these top leaders in the business world spend a lot of time reading and equipping themselves, going to trainings and conferences to learn. That's another one. So we should be no different. Now, I shouldn't spend 40 hours a week doing that. That's not sustainable. It's not sensible. But I should be, you know, throughout the week spending a quarter of my Trades of Hope time, you know, or, you know, maybe a little less, whatever, because there's certain things I need to be spending more time on now. But every week I'm reading or I'm watching videos of something that's going to help me strengthen my abilities as a compassionate entrepreneur. Maybe you need more about the fair trade movement or what sustainability means. There's a wide variety of things that you can cover.
Well, you become what you focus on. And that's what I see happening. I saw happening for me, and I needed to change that. Like what you're, you know, it's biblical too. What we put in comes right out of our heart, of our mind. But, you know, if you're taking time to focus on something that's teaching you something, it's going to come out And I need to encourage Mary in that way too, because I think that will help bust her out of the, where she is right now. But that's good.
Well, and I'm always thinking too, once I learn this is just the way God made me. Okay, who needs to hear this? Because that's going to help cement my learning. Is to be able to give it away. Right. If it's to my personal sign-ons, to the team at large, do I share it on the director's team? Do I share it with CEs at large? My hostesses at my customer parties? Like the other night, I watched a video of somebody who's doing a presentation with a different direct sales company. And I didn't even watch her whole video. I'll be honest with you. But what I got the first 5 minutes was phenomenal. And I immediately started to change my language at my parties. She said something to the effect of, it was a video presentation. Her video presentation was going to go on just her talking for like an hour and a half, something like that. But she said, I want to thank you all so much for coming tonight. And I know that there's so many valuable things you could have been doing with your time. Maybe you're setting aside time that you would have been with your family, maybe your favorite show, some other activity. So I really want you to know that my goal here is to add value to your life tonight. And I was like, I hit the pause button and I just was like, I want to think about that, because that is what we're doing in Trades of Hope. We are adding value to people's lives by inviting them to make a difference with their dollar, not just at this party, but all of the time. I'm adding value to somebody's life by getting them to shop, but also for them to host, because I'm giving them the opportunity to be a world changer alongside of me and to help us grow our artisans marketplace and introduce and empower their friends and family. I'm also adding value when I'm inviting people to join my team. I don't have to feel bad about any of these pieces of my job. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not burdening anyone. I'm adding value, because maybe there's women and men in America who they don't like their jobs. They're in over their heads in credit card debt. They are looking for something meaningful. They wish their job made a difference. I have a student who's a phenomenal graphic designer, an alumni of mine, and he designs for all these big companies. He says all the time, I so wish I was making a difference in what I was doing. Like, he really wants to be a graphic designer for IJM. That's like his dream job, and so I get it. I've heard people say like, yeah, I kind of just feel like I'm pushing the system along. I'm not making a real difference in my 9 to 5. Well, we have the opportunity to add value to that also. So that was just something, like, I'm serious. I didn't probably get more than 5 or 6 minutes into her little presentation. And I was like, well, I don't know what she was going to talk about tonight, but that was my takeaway. And I just kind of moved on. I knew I wasn't going to buy their product line. It doesn't work for me. I've tried it in the past, but I've got so much value out of just watching her, the start of her presentation. I will probably at some point when I'm recovering from surgery here in a couple of weeks, I'm going to go back and watch the full thing. But right now I'm too busy with other things. I got the best part of it. So, but just thinking about that, we are adding value to people's lives and what we're doing here with Trades of Hope. Women around the globe, but also people here in the United States when they shop, when they host, and when they join with us. So it's awesome. Well, I know the win for me has been being able to take what I've been learning here and on the direct sellers team, or the directors team, and be able to get ideas out of my head, getting them out in my mouth, and being able to share with people. So I want to thank you all for creating that context with me by engaging the process. It's been really fun to do. It's been fun to see people come on, and it's fun to hear all the different ways that you all are growing and developing. I'm really proud of each and every one of you. What I want to hear last, and I only have a few minutes. This call's gone really long, but it's been good for me. I'm learning a lot here, but I do have to get off in a few minutes to get on the director's call. But I want to hear, what is it that you feel like you all need to continue to grow as a leader? And this is helpful for me to know what these next steps are, because I'm actually considering doing a class that a master's class that would take not this would be essentially what we've been going through is going to be like my foundational course, and then go on to do the next step. So how it is to grow more as a sponsor and more as a leader, and then continue then to branch off from there in some different topics. So just quickly here, if y'all can give me some ideas, what do you feel like you need next to be able to grow? Any thoughts? You need some time to think about it?
I originally thought more basic. When you asked that question, I had just originally thought that my needs are just to be more disciplined, more organized, knowing what to do. But that's kind of what my thinking was when you originally asked the question. But when you stated it this way, I think more, I'm like, okay, I need to know, I have a team of 9. I need to know what it's going to be like to be a manager. I need to know what it's like to be a director if I ever get that far. You know, if I choose to go that far or whatever, you know, I need to know that. And I actually, at that point, I'm like, I look what you do and I go, I don't know if I want to be a director because I don't know if I want to, you know, you do a lot for us and I love it. And it's like, I think I'll just let you be my director and I'll be okay. And Michaela's shaking her head. See, we all agree. We're just like, we like being your, you know, so I'll go to the manager and then I'll stay there, you know. So, but anyway, just the gist of what that's going to look like, what that, yeah, just stretching. That's, for me, that would be very stretching to be a director because I don't know that I want to spend that much time doing it. That's a very honest thing to say, I guess. But
no, that's fair. Well, and different people are spending different amounts of time. I don't calculate my time, but I would say that I'm working full time between my 2 jobs.
right.
So, and with Trades of Hope, I'm probably working 25 hours or so a week, I would say.
Yeah.
So maybe a little bit more. Because part of it is my parties in person have become so, they really are stronger. So I party a few times a month, 4 or 5. I'm still making the most off of what I sell. And so I'm partying maybe 4 to 5 times a month and selling anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000 a month. It kind of depends on the month and the party and the type of events and stuff like that. So, but growing the team does, you know, supplement that and give me more. So the reality is when you start a business, you know, I said to Russ when we decided to go down this path, the first 2 to 4 years, I said, I'm going to work a lot more than I will long term, because it's like with any business that's started. When you start a business, it requires a lot of you. And everyone I know who owns brick and mortar stores or businesses, that's their story. So I knew it'd be the same with this. So what's going to be nice for me is when I don't have to do this and hospice together. But thankfully, hospice is part-time too, you know, and has a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
But I don't want to dissuade you off from being a director, because it's really amazing to be able to be in contact with the founders regularly, to be amongst other women who are leading at that level, and the things I learn from folks. You all get the overflow of that all the time.
Right.
And I'm getting a level of leadership development that you don't get in another. When you get manager and above, they start doing more like company-wide leadership development. But the director's team, it's beautiful. So there's no.
And it's funny because when you're saying that, I hear that and I kind of go, well, what I'm saying is sort of like my brain hears, like, looks at 60 people that I don't have, you know. It's like, okay, but I have my little 9 and I can handle that. So then it kind of goes, okay, then I'll get more. So that makes it, okay, I can handle that. You know what I mean? So it's like in my brain, it's like, oh, I can't do this big thing. But when I kind of look back to the smaller thing, is, yeah, I like my team. I could do that, you know. So
well, the goal
then I'll be a director.
kind of stuff. The goal is to raise up leaders.
True. Yeah.
I mean, that's for me. Like I can't.
It always has been. Yeah.
I could not run this team without people who are at different levels of leadership on the team, because I am expecting when you all sponsor people. I mean, you're growing your business. You're the independent person here, right? Well, you're
Right.
responsible for those folks. I'm responsible for them to some level,
Yeah.
but they chose to do this business with you.
Yeah.
So when I reach out to Nancy says, I might reach out about something the other week. I forget what I was reaching out about. And she came back with like a full report of what everybody was doing. It was awesome. I was like, the heavens had parted.
That's too funny.
And I was so grateful when I contact leaders and they have an understanding and a grip. So sorry, on what their team is doing.
Yeah.
That makes my job easier.
So in a sense, I'm doing what I should be doing. I'm getting there. I'm working. It's just encouragement to continue becoming a leader, a manager, a director. That's what I would do for the future.
And as time comes, you learn more, those.
Yeah. You grow into it too. Yeah.
Well, you grow into it, right? What were you going to say, Michaela?
Well, I was going to say it's along the same lines of what Nancy's saying. And it's, Shelby, really, I need more of what you're already doing. And that is to continue to encourage us. I love to be celebrated. I mean, I do. Come on, everybody loves to be celebrated. And you know what? You celebrate us even when we've done very little. And that's important to me because being a mom of so many kids and everything, I don't get celebrated a lot. I'm celebrating for everyone else. But when I get celebrated, that means a whole lot to me because normally I'm giving. And so, that keeps me going and it keeps me energetic and wanting to do more. But because I look at it like I used to be a runner and I'd run 5Ks and it was so neat to see people on the sidelines that was cheering me on and going, yeah, you can do it, just at the time that I was about to give up. So that's what I need. But also I need to learn to give myself more grace. And to also, speak positively to myself also, and to believe that I can, because I know I can. And I know that I have prayed over, my business. I know that this is exactly where God has for me and where he has me being right now. And I've got to remember that when he's called me to it, he's going to equip me for it. So it's reminding myself also of those things and allowing myself, the other thing, not to compare. That's the other thing, not to compare myself to others and what they're doing, but just to say, you know what, Lord, okay, today I made, this week I made 2 phone calls, or I told the TOH story, 3 times, or whatever. But to realize that, I'm not going to compare myself to someone who it seems like every 5 minutes is announcing a new CE, So that's the other thing. So that's what I'm holding on to continue to grow and to prosper. And just to say thank you. Thank you so much for all that you do for us and that you pour into us daily. I don't know how you do it, but know that I greatly appreciate it because it keeps me encouraged and wanting to do more and more.
Thank you so much, Michaela. That's encouraging to hear. My fear is always people are like, oh gosh, Shelby's got something new that she's putting on the team page. As positive as a person I am, I always kind of fearfully negatively interpret how people are going to respond to the things I do. I don't know why. That's something I need to work on, I guess. But I find the team experience like such a joy giver kind of thing for me. Part of it probably is it taps into my extrovert piece. I love people and I love connecting with people and I love seeing people grow and to develop. And I don't expect everybody to grow a team like I have or to work their business. Like there's a girl under Cindy who's very adamant. She's like, yeah, this is the extent of what I'm going to do and I'm not going to grow it. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Like if you know what you're called to, what works for you and your family, I don't have any expectation for her. I'll be happy for her if it goes bigger than that because I think it'll be a surprise blessing to her. But because this was never my intention. I never had it on my radar to become a director. It was not my goal. I was just going to tell some stories and change some people's lives. Like I was just going to be like on the side kind of thing, but God had different plans for me, and the overflow of those plans, the blessing, is really the opportunity to get to know you all. Like I would never have probably met Michaela and Betsy. While I heard her name from time to time from Nicole, I've never really spent time with her. And then Nancy was, kind of part of a previous professional circle. So besides tracking her on Facebook, I probably wouldn't have had much engagement. But I've met so many incredible people to sit there at Empower and just feel like so delighted. I had this incredible group of women around me, the majority of who I would have no reason to know. No reason to ever encounter. So it really is, part of what gives me the energy to do what I do. But the team is it is a pure joy. Kind of like I get so much out of just seeing women blossom, seeing women who think like I could have never done this, and see them to be able in big and in small ways. And that's why I try to celebrate a wide variety of things. That matters to me, because I don't think that it's just like the director level work that matters in Trades of Hope. It's not. In fact, the majority of people in the company are not selling like us. Otherwise they'd all be at the director's table right now, right? But there's so many CEs, 97% of the people in the company aren't on the director's team. And so, but you all are really what's carrying the company. And so I feel like people need to be celebrated and acknowledged and recognized in their own ways for the way they're leading. And I'm grateful for it. And I know, it's like I was on the phone call with Ollie yesterday, and she said it's that 97% that she has really been thinking so much more about, like, how do we really help people to feel empowered? And it's given me a lot of encouragement about how I work with you all, because you all are really kind of the heartbeat. The artisans and my team are really like the things that make my heart beat in this work. So it's good. Well, hey, I'm going to go because I need to get on this call. If you all can post when I do the replay of what else you feel like you need for these next steps to grow, that's going to be really helpful for me. And then I'm going to, because I am going to announce 2 tracks. I'm going to do a master's course. And then I'm going to do do this course again. You can't get into the master's course unless you've done the foundational one, though. So people who haven't completed this, and that's the goal, is you have to go back and complete the tracks and respond and engage things, and we'll have a little conversation. But then I'll be posting about when that's going to be starting. Okay. So I'm sorry this went so long, but I hope for you it was good. It was really good for me. Awesome. I appreciate you, ladies. Thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Michaela. It's so nice to be with you all, to hear your passion, to hear the ways in which you're growing. It's inspiring. So thanks. Have a happy Halloween.
Take care.
Yeah. Your inner Wonder Woman.
Happy Reformation Day.
Yes, happy Reformation Day too. Yes, thank you, Nancy. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.